A beautiful morning. Welcome to Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa. Now we have a lot in store for you today, talking about the current issues facing the housing sector in Nigeria and the world at large. Now, what are those challenging issues facing the housing sector? Your guess is as good as mine. Now quickly, let's keep you informed on some of these matters. On the show this morning, we'll be looking at Nigerians' worst flooding in decades that has left thousands trapped and homeless in Borno State. And later on the show, a town planner will be joining us in the studio to discuss proper planning measures and solutions to mitigate flooding in major cities. Also, a special report on health challenges and possible solutions of overcrowded homes. I urge you to sit tight. These and more will be coming your way after this short break. I am Yemina Bagudu. We'll be back shortly.
A very warm, sunshiny, promising, excellent, delicious, confident good morning to all our viewers out there. I trust you all slept well, and I'm here again to talk to you about something that's very, very precious. And I want to talk about value. V-A-L-U-E, value. Now, just walk along with me for a second, right? Let's say a bottle of water costs 200 naira in the market. And you go to a hotel and the cost is 500 naira. And probably go to the airport and it's probably 700 naira. Now, you would wonder, it's the same content, it's the same size, but why the difference in price? You know what? It is the value that has been placed on that environment over time that has given it that stamp of approval to place such amount of value on its products or content, as it were. Now, let's bring that closer to home, okay? You, as a human being, full of versatility, full of ideas, full of so much beauty and worth. Just imagine how much value you place on yourself. And guess what? There's no price tag to that. It is priceless. So if you place a certain amount of value on yourself within your given geographical location, within your environment, within your immediate space, that is how much people around you will value you. So, whatever you put in is what you're going to give out. After all, there's a computer terminology, garbage in, garbage out, G-I-G-O. And if you spend your time putting in what matters, when you meet other people, you're networking or you're chit-chatting with friends or family or strangers, it won't take long before they know where to place you, okay? Because the average human being knows what to say, knows when to say what he or she says. And trust me, as human beings, we're probably 70-80% intentional about what we say, what we do. If you actually place value on value, if you place worth on worth, you tread the path of making yourself a better person. Remember what I said about the water bottle? Still the same size, still the same content, but the price goes higher and higher depending on where the bottle is placed or sold. So when the time comes for you to display yourself, probably in front of an audience, in front of a committee, in front of a program, wherever that is. People sitting and watching and listening to you, what is that value they're going to place on you? It is vital, it is important that we take our time to groom ourselves so that we can have a long-lasting impression that is valuable, that matters in the long run. We need to build ourselves. We need to surround ourselves with things and people that matter. Because in the long run, you matter. I matter. In the long run, people desire value around them. There are a lot of people walking around clueless. They don't know what to make of themselves. But here you are taking out time to pour into yourself, taking out time to better yourself, taking out time to place value on yourself. Priceless value. It could come with a price tag sometimes. Before you misunderstand, this is what I mean. For instance, if you're a public speaker, if you're a master of ceremony, definitely you need to be paid for the job. Okay? So, it depends on how much you prepare yourself. That could also determine the negotiation brought to the table. I just want to encourage us. What time do you spend? What amount of time do you spend in putting into yourself things that really count and things that really matter? So that at the end of the day, you showcase yourself and people are like, wow, no wonder he isolated himself for so long. No wonder she isolated herself for so long. Because if you want to place value and worth on yourself, you need to be willing to take out time and set yourself apart to build your inner man, to build yourself. And that way, people will be willing to identify with you. What are you going to do with this piece of information given to you this morning? I just want to say, place value on yourself. You can never regret it. Until next time, keep on winning. Bye.
This is Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. Now, to begin the show this morning, Nigerians' housing deficit and the unavailability of affordable housing has caused many of Nigerians to live in overcrowded homes. Now, this situation has an effect on their health and well-being. Let's take a look at this special report.
Nigeria's housing deficit is a pressing issue that has resulted in overcrowding across different parts of the country. According to recent estimates, the West African country needs approximately 28 million housing units to meet the demand of its rapidly growing population. The shortfall has led to a variety of problems, including overcrowding, slum development, and increased vulnerability in Abuja, Lagos, Niger, Borno State, among others.
It depended on how many persons in a family. Like in Nigeria, we know that we extended families are much. You have your mother's side, your father's side, you know, friends and well-wishers that it's inevitable. The health challenge is so much. It's so much. I will not start mentioning so many of them. It's so much. The few of them is the present situation, the economy, and how to feed. Before, if you're a family of four, you can feed. Subsequently, goodly 2 meal in a day, but now hardly you can feed 1 square meal. So when you have that kind of crowd, how can you feed with a minimum of 75,000 or 70,000 as your salary? And that is not even implemented. So what do you think about that? My own opinion to the government for opinion houses is to look inward and sit down in the right table, dialogue on it, how to help the masses, how they help the people they are governing. Because if your people you are governing are not comfortable and not free, so who are you governing? Are you governing the grass? Are you governing the best of the air? You are governing human being. So what we are trying to let them know, they should make everything affordable for us so that we can help them too, so that their reign will be supreme.
The number of people that should stay in a room, depending on how big the room is, but ideally it should be 2 to 3. It's easy for any communicable disease to spread. For instance, if I'm coughing and the person sitting beside me is coughing, I won't be surprised if I see him coughing the next day. I think proper hygiene, if the environment is clean enough, and if I'm staying in a room with my neighbor and I notice that there's something, I will either go to get myself protected or I will advise him to go and treat himself.
Some servers are up to 10 in a one room, like girls. If you even go to town yourself, it's not even like you see the way they will be arranged themselves. Some again, 7, some 5, some 8. It depends on how big the room is. Honestly, they are facing a lot. I have some of them, because like some of them, even that amount they are spending in that room, they do pay. Not that they are even staying there free. They are paying. Honestly, they are paying, because they are paying maybe weekly, monthly. You understand? So they do pay, and some of them are facing back pain, uncomfortable, stealing of property of each other, all those things, because it's not your personal house. You people are like 4, 8, 10 inside one room, so anything can happen. Fighting and all that thing, so they are not finding it easy. They are just staying there because they don't have any option. They don't even know where to stay, and they don't even have anybody to accommodate them. And even though you have a relative here, they will tell you that, please, I'm sorry, I can't keep you, 1 or 2 things, and feeding and also all that thing. That is one of the issues. So they are just managing their life on the name of I want to work and survive. That is how they do stay. But you have your own house, if you want to accommodate person like me now, I can't accommodate 2 up to 2 weeks in my house. It can't be possible. I tried now. At least if I try maybe 1 week, and you are working, and if you check how much is house inside town, 1,500,000, 600,000, who will afford? How much is the salary? Yes, if you even see my 150, if summer is not even up to 150, so how can you use that? That is what many workers now, some of them, what they are even doing is shock of mouth, because they can't even use their salary to do anything for themselves. Let's be honest ourselves, and the government is also aware of it. That is the truth. He's even aware of it, that people are suffering. So let him help us. We don't even need to shout, or we don't even need to tell him. He himself, he knows that people are suffering. So the solution is let the government help the youth. That is the only solution. Either you transfer money to each youth account. They have collected our account number for how many months now? We have not seen the money. Some people say they see 50,000, but me till today, how many months? This 1 year now, I have not even seen that money up to today. So they should just help. That is the truth. Even me, I'm even looking for help, safe. So everybody's looking for help. If the government can even help me, I'm looking for help. I'm even looking for money to even rent a house, because where I'm staying, it's not even comfortable for me. Let's just do something about it.
Overcrowding is not that good, because some people has some health issues. Like let me just say, for example, I'm sleeping with somebody on a bed and he has an infection. Now, and then let's say we have plenty people with infection and plenty people without infection in a room that is overcrowded. It can be, how would I put it, spread to the others, which makes it very, very bad. Now, the way to tackle this is to have more of the rooms, then let everybody have their spaces. Like 3 to 4 is not that bad in a room.
According to the World Bank and local housing surveys, Nigeria faces a staggering housing deficit of over 20 million units, driven by rapid urbanization and population growth. The challenge is compounded by high upfront costs, inflexible payment terms, and inadequate financing options, making it increasingly difficult to secure a sustainable apartment or home in today's competitive market. The rising cost of living, limited housing supply, and strict rental requirements makes it increasingly difficult for many individuals and families to find affordable homes.
So many people around the house, so there's no space around them for them to do their personal things or for them to get their personal vibes. So when you talk about overcrowded, you know everybody's always disturbed. It should be more than 2. Yeah, we have like 80% of Nigerians that don't have houses. We just stay on the streets. Like in the morning, we wake up highest, we stay in clubs or we stay in gardens or things like that. So there's no housing. There's no housing around in Abuja. Housing is so expensive and lack of funds. Like even in a suburb area like this, you can't get a very good house. So that's just the problem. It's like 250, 300 for a single room. The government, they can't do anything because even though they provide houses, the houses are for the elites. Yeah, they give the houses to the elites. So the common man, there is no, like, let me say, there's no hope for the common man. So that's how it is.
Some na born now, like this house, they born 4 children. They marry 4 wives. You go see children like 30. Everybody they go hustle, come back. You understand? Like my father now, he born us 10. So if house no day, if house no day, now when I go crowd and sleep for the same house. But if you get money, free wall, you feel build flat. Everybody get your own house. Everybody there your own how you go do. Like me now, if we plenty, if I get money, I feel rent house for another people. Where let us divide ourselves. Government, they're supposed to look on that. Look how poor they suffer. Because if they say money day, they no go jump out inside one room. So let government look this thing and help the poor.
Actually, overcrowding in a room is when a number that is not being expected is being in one particular room. For me, a number of a particular room should be like 2 people. 2 people will be okay. If it is more than 2 people, then it may lead to another thing, like to contact a disease. The room will be always overheating. It will be always dirty or somehow. So for me, if you can contain like 2 people, because of the condition of things today, many people are managing. Somebody that are not doing anything, you see they are managing. People will like to conject themselves into one room because they cannot be able to pay for a particular house of a room. Because house of a room now is very costly in Abuja here. Talking about they cannot pay for a room. So you see many people are being feast themselves in one particular house. Government can come in by reducing the price or the cost of building so that the house owners in Abuja here can be able to collect a low rentage from their tenants.
Overcrowding basically, just as the literal meaning implies, it means when more than a particular number that is supposed to stay in the particular place, it's more. It's more. Ideally, for grown persons, it's supposed to be 1 person to an apartment. Then if it is a family, if the family setting, even in a civilized society, you see husband and wife staying under the same roof in different rooms. First, what we look at infection, and we look at all this communicable disease, and maybe in terms of health, mentally, it can disturb too. Basically, there's supposed to be there is solution if the government and the private sector, if they take it serious, like building affordable homes where those that are working can come in, get a house and pay over time. like installmentally?
Okay, overcrowding basically is when you have more people in a housing facility than there is supposed to be. Okay, if somebody is supposed to be occupying a self-contained facility, housing unit, and you have 3 people there, that is overcrowding, evidently. So basically it's just having excess of persons in a facility. A self-con now, honestly speaking, as the name implies, self-con, self-contained, one person. It shouldn't be more than one, because 2 is company, 3 is a crowd. It's the economy now. You can't. You see, this is not something we should even deliberate on. It's the economy. Basically, it is the economy. The economy has made. It's just funny though, but the economy, basically, people are trying to, you understand, meet up. Obviously, there are a lot of solutions to this problem. The first major solution to this problem is there's a need for urban outskirts to be developed. If there are houses built in Abaji, people don't want, everybody wants to be in town, but everybody cannot be in town. Do you get it? Everybody cannot be in town.
Okay.
So there has to be provisions for housing units outside of town, in quote. Outside of town.
So it's
there has to be housing provisions for housing units outside of town.
So
outside of town. Yes. People should go, they should explore more places. The houses in Gwagwalada, the houses in Abaji, the houses in Kwali, the houses on Suleja Road. I mean, there are places that if they are being developed, I don't think people will be complaining of houses. We are narrowing it down to FCT Abuja. Do you get me? So, if this step can be taken by the appropriate authorities, whoever they are, I think they would decrowd.
Other factors, including redevelopment and economic instability, have also contributed to the challenges faced by prospective tenants and homeowners. However, despite these challenges, the demand for housing is still on the rise.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa.
Indeed, health and a proper shelter is needed to carry on your daily activities. Now let's move to our focus for today on the Good Morning Africa show. Flood menace in Nigeria have become a normal and reoccurring phenomenon which sometimes has devastating impacts on human livelihoods and infrastructural development. Causes of this problem such as rapid population growth, poor governance, poor drainage facilities, lack of proper environmental planning and management strategies, poor practice of dumping waste and climate change, coupled with inadequate preparedness, bringing us to our discussion segment on the Good Morning Africa show. Now, a town planner is with me in the studio to have this conversation today on proper planning measures and solutions to mitigate flooding in major cities.
Get credible and authentic housing news at your fingertips by downloading the Housing TV mobile app. You can also join the Africa International Housing Show live from across the globe through the Housing TV mobile app. The mobile app features live streaming and trending housing news. You can locate the AIHS venue via the app. Network with AIHS seasoned speakers and live chat with exhibitors. You can also order house or building materials at AIHS via this app. Download the Housing TV mobile app now from the App Store and Google Play Store. And don't forget to click on the notification button. Available for both iOS and Android users. Housing TV is also on Star Times, channel 149 decoder.
So the conversation is beginning to start. My guest is present with me here in the studio. We have Town Planner Mairo Denladi, FNITP. You're highly welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So the topic we'll be looking at is flood control. Okay, we want to see how proper planning measures and solutions, what are the things that we need to put in place, to mitigate flooding. Now we're going to start off with this year, because in various states they have been affected with flooding, with Borno State on the list. For the past 1 week now, going to 2 weeks, it's been Borno, Maiduguri, flood, and all of that. So first things first, let us, talk about the causes of flooding.
Okay, so thank you very much. Flooding is not caused by one factor. It's usually a combination of factors ranging from climate change, increase in rainfall. That's the most natural. Rainfall increases, it comes very hard, very fast, and it causes like dams or rivers or natural water bodies to overspill their bounds into where development is. Okay. We also have issues of blocked drainages and water passages by development. Housing that we build in the water path, housing that we build in areas that are not supposed to be built. Deforestation, removing ground cover. Ground cover helps to break the force of water when it is coming, no matter how strong it is. And it also helps water saturation into the soil to reduce flooding. But a combination of these factors now overwhelms the environment, and then flooding occurs. And flooding is so impactful, it's damaging. Infrastructure, loss of lives, loss of ground cover, because it moves soil at a massive rate. You understand? But the most recent cause of flooding in Maiduguri is attributed to the overflow or the breaking of the dam, the Alo Dam. Yes. And we can see the impact. Almost 500,000 people have been displaced. Almost 500,000 people have been displaced. Now, this singular act cannot be attributed to human settlement activity. It is attributed or attributable to the dam overflowing its bounds. Now, we tend to look at flooding and flooding issues within this country, I think, within the context of our boundaries. But sometimes the effects and the start-off begins from outside our borders. We have neighboring countries that have dams. We have neighboring countries that have increase in rainfall, decrease in ground cover. And when these rains begin, the rain always finds its way. It flows down. It doesn't flow uphill. It follows gravity, and it flows down. And that is where we're having issues. Because recently, I've even seen this morning a flood warning from Cameroon saying that they are going to release, the Lagdo Dam, I think is the name of that dam. Cameroon is uphill of Nigeria. So once they release the waters, what happens? Another incidence of flood. Do you understand? Yes. Okay, so mitigating these floods, we need to be a little bit more proactive as citizens also. You understand? We need education on how to avoid a lot of these incidences. Each dam that is built usually has a dam spill-off or a spillway where excess waters are released and they can follow and they flow away safely. We have, I think, with human settlement development, we have blocked a lot of these channels. And that is one of the reasons why we have the situation that we have in Maiduguri. And if you notice, I just finished reading an article a couple of weeks ago. 31 out of the 36 states and FCT, 31 of Nigerian states have been put on the flood alert system. It means a flood can occur anywhere, anytime in those states. 31. That's too much.
That's too much.
That's
really,
too much.
That's too much indeed. That's too much. So let us look at as a town planner.
Yes.
Is it that you know, proper planning in various towns were not done well? Because we have structures on underways, we have structures on, you know, places that are not even, you know, those structures are not supposed to be there in the first place.
Yes. Well, it's not. Let me go back a little bit. You know, the introduction of formal town planning, I don't think it can predate maybe 50 years, 40 to 50 years maximum. Okay. You understand?
Yes.
What we used to have were settlements that were formed in certain orders back in the day, building around the chief's palace, building around the central square, building around maybe farmlands, you know, that kind of thing, market square. Now, with the introduction of formal planning and education in planning, we realize that there's need to zone development, there's need to increase greening or ground cover, undeveloped areas. There is need to move away from drainage or river, what do you call it, river banks or riverways, pathways,
basins and all.
away from them.
Okay.
There is need to introduce formal drainage and sewage systems.
Okay.
That's to allow the free flow of water. But there is also need to invest in solid waste management. Proper disposal of solid waste. If you check all our drainages in many cities in this nation, they are blocked.
Yes, they are. With dirt, nylon.
Unbelievable what you can see in our drainages. So you can imagine if we just took the time as citizens to clean those drainages. We can't always wait for
the government to do everything. Yes.
Civic responsibility. We need to go there. The citizens, the professionals, people like us, the town planners, and others in the built environment, we need to also educate our people. These are the effects of improper disposal of waste. These are the effects of building on waterways. These are the effects of uncontrolled deforestation and removal of ground cover. If we have greens, we create carbon sinks, and we also create pockets of green, how can I describe this? That allows water saturation into the soil. So topsoil is no longer, you know, because with the advent of development and pavement, we are now unable to allow water to sink. Water does not sink into the ground level. It needs to find somewhere where it can sink into the soil. So we need more of these green areas, more of trees to try and